Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope all are you good and learn something new with day by day. Welcome back to the channel again with new video, with new learning. I hope all are you good and today I have a phone for repair, right? Now this phone come to me from a shopkeeper. First of all, I will tell you the problem. This phone had no graphics, no LCD, a blank LCD, right? Now the shopkeeper told me, right? I'm already changed the display panel, whatever you call a folder combo, basically a display panel. It's already changed this display, but still there is no graphic, no light, nothing. It's a blank display. So today we diagnose this phone and let's see we repair this phone or not. And so the dealer also gave me the display, right, for this model for confirmation because this display already had a broken, right? You will see here, right? That side on my right side, my laptop. For the recording purpose, I'm look at the recording stream, right? So look at it. There is a broken display, but the shopkeeper told me he already replaced with a new one, but there is a no symptoms. I mean to say, still the same. Nothing, nothing will be changed. I mean, no graphics, no light, nothing. The same. So we diagnose this phone today. I have a new one display also. So first I'm opening this phone and let's look at the motherboard. Mm, Just a second. All right. Little bit hard. Just a second. Someone call me. Just a second. Hold on. Sorry for the disturbance. Right. Now I'm open the phone. Right. Just remove the panel. Samsung A10. Right. Right. There is a charger 5 watt and ampere, right? So look at the meter, charging meter. When I connect it, now look at this 1.1, 1.2, 5 volt, 1.1 ampere. Sometimes it's 1.2. So that means this phone in a running condition, as as a shopkeeper told me. Also, when I'm press the on off button, it's vibrate. Maybe you can't feel it here, but it's vibrate. So that means your phone turning on. When we connect again our charger, 1.1 and the ampere consuming. That means this phone is in still running condition. Maybe a new logo, maybe it's properly running, but there is a no display, as a shopkeeper told me. So let's diagnose this one, right? Right. So it's true. I'm open the Borneo, right? Let's see in schematics where this problem comes. Let's open the motherboard. It's failed and something water marks. Look at this. Look at here. These are water marks. Also all over good and nothing. No major repair. Everything will be clean. Proper shield. Looking good. Now look at the connector properly. Because this phone came to for display fault, so connector is playing major role. All the nearby components, these are MIPI components, looking good. Connector, no watermarks, looking good. Always look at the board carefully. I mean to say, eye scanning is the most important in repair. Eye scanning. So look at the again with zoom, a little bit zoom and connector. Look at the connector, but all over clear. Fresh connector, right? Now let's see the diode value. Let's open the Borneo and check the diode value, right? Open the Borneo and Samsung 8 and let's open the schematics. Now schematics open, but layout is missing. So open the schematic. Now open the service manual. Now there is a layout, but it's little blurry, so difficult to find a component location. If there is a no layout, it's difficult to find the location. Let's take a help of the hardware solution and LCD, right? Because there is a no layout, so let's take a help from hardware solution. Now hardware solution open LCD, and these are the lines responsible for the LCD, a blank LCD below, right? Now this is the motherboard connector. Now add this on the top side. So we measured all these lines one by one, right? Starting from the upside, right? These are LCD lines, right? In these lines, voltage lines, right? MIPI 1.8. And just a second, our system hang, little bit stuck. Let's back. So in some phases, you will see there was a video fast, a video slow, stuck. So a first video, right? That's why. Now first pin, there is 836, right? And third pin on a 567 1, right? Now there is a difference between those 2 points. So I have a doubt these two pins because these had different values, because these pins belong from VSN and VSP in other model Androids, but in Samsung, like right here 939, and this reading is abnormal. When look at the this reading, this ticket is looking good, but let's take a reverse side. Now this line on a reverse side, 700. Now there is a leakage or short. That means this line had a problem and this line is OL. Completely okay. These two lines belonging to the plus voltage, plus 5 voltage and minus 5 voltage. So there is a problem. Short. I will doubt on first line. Let's look at the other lines after we decide. Now let's take 5. This one and okay. One after 7. Okay. Next. No, not next. Next. It's okay. 5 to 8. Completely okay. Let's look at the downward side. After the first, we move and 3 counts. Second, third, fourth. Second, 954. And third, 956. Fourth, 957. This is looking good. Let's look at the MIPI lines one by one. 438, uh, no 437, look nice. Next ground, now 438, just a second, forget that. 438, 437, okay, ground, uh, okay, ground, not connected properly. 438, 438, ground, 439, 439, 8, ground, 438, 437, and the next is ground, ground, okay. Now last two lines, 437 and 437. Okay, all MIPI lines are okay. So I doubt on first line because the reverse and forward both are had a reading, right? This line had a problem. 8 to 9. Now look at the forward bias and 700. So this line had a problem. Now let's follow this line where this line comes Borneo in Borneo. Now first line call this line had a name LCM AVEE. It's like a VSN and VSP in Android, but in Samsung call AVEE and AVDD -5 and +5. So -5 voltage AVEE had a problem. Let's follow. And this line comes from AIC. This IC is a graphic IC, right? Now let's go to the main camera. Now under this sheet there is a display graphic IC. But just this part has slightly fast forwarding. So shield removing part, right? So I already make a video on this how to remove shields, but I do not disclose on this video because time consuming process. So remove the shield, right? Now I'm adding a Borneo in a microscope screen. So this is the graphic IC on the main motherboard, right? Now let's remove the IC and actually replace the IC with the new one because this IC had a not switching properly, I thought, because this line had a short and they were now now through these two components, so one resistance and one capacitor, this line come from the IC, these two components, right? That's again taking a 3D 439 and a forward bias and reverse bias 574. So this is the short. There is 100% short on this line, right? Both side a similar reading, right? Forward bias and reverse bias, right? When we check forward bias and reverse bias are similar type of the reading. So only this cap and this cap connected to the IC, right? Right. Call LCM AVE, right? -5 voltage line. No, this line, right? Before remove the IC, let's measure the voltages. So for the confirmation, right? Let's pack it. These first and third take, right? So let's circuit here. So on the first point, you had not connected proper. First point, no value. Let's check the second point. It's a minus 5 volt. Actually, it's not a minus 5. It's a plus 5 because I'm checking on the reverse bias. Now on the first point, there is no value. On a second, there is a value. It's a plus voltage, right? I will tell you again because I'm checking with the black probe, right? Basically, in a voltage mode, you check on a forward bias with the red probe, but I'm measure with the black probe because on my black probe there is a needle. So let's remove the IC because maybe this IC had a switching problem. Does not produce a minus 5 voltage. So let's remove the IC. So a little heat. Remove the IC. Heat is a 350. Here is 1. Now, now clean up the IC. Right. The desolder wire cleaned up properly. After wash it with thinner, right, with the cloths. Now the proper cleaning. Zoom it. Now there is a of first ball at a solder. So just remove this properly. Now it's okay. Now we can replace with the new IC where the pad cleaned. Now we replace with another motherboard. There is a scrap motherboard here on my other side, right? Now in this scrap motherboard there is a similar IC, a graphic IC. We replace from here. We remove this IC. This is scrap motherboard IC, right? So our paste and heat up, right? Let's little bit move the coil. So we had a space to remove the IC properly. A little hard. Mm. Now, now IC is loose. Let's take the IC. IC remove. First, I try to move the coil. So we had a space for remove the IC, but the IC loose and we take it out. Now clean up the IC and reball it. Right. The universal stencil just upper and PPD apply. A little heat, later heat on a 300 and air on a 1 or 0 actually. Right. Now again Now wash the IC and remove from the stencil. Right. Now just clear these all extra walls. Now we apply a little flux and heat up the IC. So every wall settled in a place. A little heat. So every ball shiny, also connected properly. Now every ball connected and a little shiny. Now we place this IC. I mean to say replace, right? L1B. So no, one thing remember always. Just a little below, I will tell you. Always remember the nose cut point. Now IC and just little settle down the IC and little heat. Now always remind the nose cut point for the location IC. All right. Now little heat and when flux comes out, that means your IC are properly connected and little shake for confirmation. How flux is out slowly and a little shake it. Right. The flux is out and it'll shake. Okay. The IC is properly connected. Now let's cool down the board and after we check the readings again on the AVEE, right? Which line had a faulty? On a multimeter, right? Now on a tire mode, clear. Now check this line. So this is AVDD line, right? Board little hot, and this line is AVEE 297, 219, 331. Board is little hot, so that's why reading fluctuate. On that side, 4 to 500. The shorting remains same. That means the IC had okay previous IC, but I mean the fault is on a. Let's check the display. Maybe any symptoms, any changes. Now switch on the. Let's connect the charger. Now it's taking ampere 0.451 1.1 ampere, but no response. Again connect it. Maybe any connector loose. So again connect this 1.2, 1.1, right? But no response. Because I have also doubt the shorting remains same, the same situation still. So let's see where is the fault because the IC is completely okay, right? So what we should do the next step. Now this according to the hardware solution, there is a VPH line and the two output lines. Now VPH is already okay because it's create plus 5 voltage. Also, if VPH is short, then the phone does not turn on, not connected charging, right? There is a in a shorting condition, but phone still running. There is a no display. That means VPH is okay. Also, it's creating IC creating +5 voltage. Right now, open the schematics, and with schematics we open the bitmap. Right. So if there is no layout, you can run by you can choose a bitmap. So the bitmap. Now this was the IC. Just a second. Now we combine these schematics and the bitmap together. Right now both page are one in a one page. Now look at the coil, connect the coil, and we directly goes to the LCD IC. So this is the LCD IC. So C1 D1 there is a VPH with a in between a coil. Right now there is a STL SCL. Right, let's remove the IC again and check the pad value for the confirmation, because after all, after that we clear where is the fault. Right, so we remove the IC and check the pad values. So this was IC graphic IC. We remove again, just little heat. Oh, heat on a 320. A video for fast forwarding. Now remove it. Now clean it, because if we check here in this without remove cleaning, maybe your multimeter probe slip. So connect it to the other point. So confused. So much better. It's cleaning. Clean with the desolder wire and a thinner with the cloth. So it's now it's properly no solder. Now clean it properly with the cloth. Right. Now we can measure the readings. So first with the schematic, with the help of the schematics. So first we look at the right on just a second. So A1, A2, A3, and B1, B2, E3, B, C, D, E. So already make a video on counting, IC counting, right? Ball counting. So open the schematics, route C1 and D1, VPH. Let's on a bitmap. Let's take a bitmap is sometime bitmap is also wrong. So let's try this. And C1 and B1 connect with the VPH. It's right. Okay, C1 right connect. C1 connect with the coil and C1. Now this is A1. Now A pin. Now this line come from where? Had a reading. Now this line come from. Let's look at the schematic. A1. Now A2 and A3 is on a OL. Right. Let's zoom it. Zoom the schematics. A1 come from enable. Right. So this enable negative is come from the CPU. So there is a 100% value because this line come from the CPU. So CPU value on this line. Now A2 and A3. Why this two pin side oil? Now A2 is out because IC is removed, so 100% this is the OL. Now A3 is connected to the capacitor, right? So this capacitor also belongs to the IC. I mean to say diode value on A3 from the IC, but there is a no IC right now. Let's on a B2, B3, B1, B2, B3. Now B1 is a value, B2 also a value because STSL, B3 also a ground line. So B1 value, B2 value, and B3 ground. So B1, right? Okay, value, right? This line also come from the CPU. Now B2 SDSL. Okay, now B3 ground. Right. Okay. Now next, back to the schematic again. Now C1, C2, C3. Now C1, where is the C1? C1 VPH. Now there is a VPH value. Now C2 SDA, right? Serial data, right? So there is also a value. Now C3. Now this line connected to the capacitor, right? On this line there is a OL because this line had a diode value comes from the IC, graphic IC, right? So C1 value, C2 value, C3 OL. Let's on a microscope C1 had a VPH value, all right. C2 SDA. That's okay. Now let's last is C3 ground. No, it's OL because this line connected to the capacitor, right? So right. So D1, it's okay, look good. Let's go back to the schematics. D1, D2, D3. Now D1, there is a VPH, right? On a D1 VPH, D2, D2 ground, and then D3 capacitor. So D3 OL. So D1 value, D2 ground, and D3 OL. Right? Now D1 VPH. Let's check on a D1. Okay, VPH value. Okay. Now D2 ground. It's a ground. Okay. Now next it's OL. Right? It's OL because it's connected to the capacitor for filtration capacitor. Right? Now last almost everything will be fine. Now last E1, E2, E3 for schematics back to the now E1 had connected to the ground, E2 OL because filtration capacitor had connected to ground and OL, and now E3 output line. So this line now also had OL. So ground, OL, OL. Let's go to the microscope again. Let's go to the microscope. E1, E2, 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 E3, E3 OL. So the IC has completely requirement okay. Now let's check the fault. Where is fault come? Let's check the component near about the IC on a dart value. Maybe something I forgot it to measurement properly. So let's zoom out and check one by one. Now there's a ground, right? On this side OL, maybe IC connected. On this side OL on this cap. Now other side there is a OL. Now why two side OL? Now let's look at this cap. On a both side had a OL, right? Now both side had OL, right? Try again. Now which capacitor on which line? Let me see. in schematics. And just a second on a bitmap. This one capacitor. No, this is the fly cap on a port side connected to the IC. So that's why it's OL because IC removed. So let's check this IC, right? Maybe this is maybe check this capacitor if this one is not short. So problem creates this is the short, right? When we check the capacitor, this capacitor had a problem. I mean to say this problem, this capacitor creating the problem. So we replace the capacitor with the new one, right? Because this capacitor connected to the both side to the IC. So this is a major component, right? So we replace this with the another, right? Now we remove this capacitor. Now for the replacing, I am replacing with the another motherboard. Now how can you check a component value if you check with the multimeter one by one, right? Then it's take long time. So there is a trick I will tell you. So this capacitor had a short, clear. So I will tell you the trick. So how can you check? I mean to say, how can you connect check the component, a new component value? Just take whatever the value on a capacitor or any component. Just open the Borneo and write it. Open the Borneo and type in a bar, search bar, and next you will see the multiple components on the same value, right? So this is a normal trick. So now we replace it this capacitor from another motherboard the same value, right, of 4.7 microfarad. So it's a simple trick you can easily apply. Just open the Borneo and any component, any resistance. If you have miss no idea, check one by one on the other motherboard. A simple trick, just go to the Borneo and type on a search bar the component value. You will see the result, right? Now just after the cooldown, let's check again the component. This component maybe IC pad not well connect short. So this is okay. Now this component is completely okay. The capacitor, right? Now we revolve the IC again, right? Just apply PPD and revolve it with the universal stencil. Okay. Yeah. For the better result, you can apply one or two time PPD. So every ball on a similar, right? Cut it again. So every ball be a similar basis. So IC or IC place on a properly connected properly, right? Now we wash the IC. Now little flux and heat up the IC. So every ball connected. Again same process. Okay. Now just we place the IC back, right? A little flux, spread it, right? Now place it and little heat. Always remind the nose cut point, little heat, and when the flex on a outside, right? A little shake for the confirmation. Now a little shake, heat on a 320 and air on 1. A little shake, right? Uh, Now it's confirmed. Let's correct it properly. Now wait for the cool down the motherboard after we take a reading again, a measurement. It's hot. Now let's look at the capacitor again. Now there is a OL. Okay. Now this line had a previous short. Let's check this on a reverse bias first. Now there is OL because this line on a forward bias. Now forward bias 645 because this is a negative line, so it's count on a forward bias, right? AVEE on a VSN type negative voltage. Now this line had a AVDD, but one side on a OL and other side had a 44, right? 448, 449, maybe connectivity probably. Now set the resistance 524. But there is a difference on a both components on a same line 5 or 6 4. Now what was the difference? Let's look at the schematic again. Maybe I'm confusing about the components, right? Let's A3. It's the output line E3 and A3, A2 and E3. Sorry, now A2 connected to these caps. Now these caps are already okay. Now this line is almost okay, right? Because now is reading okay. Now D3, E3, sorry, and this line now from here this component I may write back to the microscope. So I'm little confused about two components, right? This cap is wrong, and now this is the right cap. So 543. So this is the AVDD cap, right? Right. So reverse bias 16, right? Okay, 1000 plus. Okay. Now which one is this cap? So I'm confused about this cap. So this cap at 461. Now which line is connected this cap? Let's see in a schematic. Now this cap. Now this connected to E2. Right. Now E2 line on connected to the E2, E2, E2. Now E2, this capacitor, filtration capacitor for the filtration, right? So I'm little confused about two components, AVDD and this capacitor. Now let's little cool down and after we check the packet and check it. Will the display come or not? Problem is resolved or not? So let's connect it again. All the batteries, battery variables, right? Battery plus cat. Yes, battery plus every dot. It is no. Connected the mount. Now the display is back, right? The problem resolved. Now let's see it's completely turning on or not. So this problem comes from one capacitor on a series a major plate capacitor. Now this capacitor had overloaded because this capacitor major role play in a boost the voltage, right? F like gap. Now the phone completely turning on. Alright. I hope. Now the phone getting turned back, the display working on condition, right? So right. So still the old display working, a damaged display. That means our problem in one capacitor, right? We revolve the IC, we change the IC. Actually, we replace the IC in one, but the fault remains same. Last checked, and the fault comes in a one capacitor, right? We change the display, we replace the IC, graphic IC, all measurements of the graphic IC, the requirement, all actually are okay, all the diode value, right? But the fault in a series cap. So a one cap, right, causes these type of the problem, any type of the problem. Your phone short, dead, are major things. Now in this phone, no display, right? But now look at this. After the working, when we diagnosis step by step how the fault trace, you will see this phone had repair. Now I have faced lot of problems regarding this video because my equipments are new. Sometimes my PC, or you can say my laptop, right, not support these tools. Sometimes it's lagging. Also, some of my tools stop working in a while in a recording. It's online, so it's take times to manage all these things. After that, we give you a fast videos in a diagnosis with the step by step. So if so, I hope you will like this video and learn something new with this video, our practical sessions. This is the basically a first video, so that's why I'm also confusing because I'm talking to while working on a phone. Also look at the PC. Also look at the tools. Which tool working, which tool running or stopped working. So all over the setup, because the setup is new. So it's take time to familiar, right? But all over it was a good experience, right? To making this video. Slowly, gradually, we make a good video when we familiar these tools, right? So I hope you learn with this video something. And if you like this, then subscribe, share it. Please share this channel, and we will meet you in the next video. Love you. Good night. Take care. Bye bye.